Welcome to another unboxing video. So this is probably going to be my last unboxing video of the year. I was thinking about doing a collection tour of my crystals, but if I do, it won't be all in one video because that'd be like 9 hours long. So I was thinking about doing them in parts and going through the crystals with them being carved, which ones are in specimens, and doing like, say, all my spheres showing that, all the towers showing that, all the ones that are specimens showing that. And yeah, just doing it that way and doing them in parts so the videos aren't so long, so it won't be so tedious. I also might have to slow down a little bit with my unboxing videos and buying crystals because I'm running out of space. So until I get like a new display case or whatever, or shelf or something, yeah, I'm going to probably have to slow down a bit because there's nowhere to put them all if I got much more. Also, I wanted to say that even though I usually put on screen the shop and the link to the shop in the description, this unboxing I won't be doing that because this is a private group with private dealers that I'm in, so I will be keeping that private. So unfortunately, I can't give you that information, but I got some really great things this time, so I can't wait to show you all the interesting minerals I have here in this unboxing. First specimen I unwrapped, and definitely the smallest one, is this white cerussite specimen. On the Mohs scale, it comes in at a 3, so it is definitely a softer mineral. Colors come in white, clear, and smoky. It grows in orthorhombic shapes and can start to form into what's referred to as snowflake shaped. So it looks sort of like snowflakes. Cerussite is a lead carbonate mineral usually found in the oxidized zone of lead ore deposits. It is a common weathering product of galena, but also sometimes other lead ore minerals as well. Its name is derived from the Latin word cerussa, which means white lead. This small specimen here comes out of Italy, and I'll put on screen the exact location this cerussite is from. And although considered common, most cerussite found is low quality, so it's rarely been on the market, and you'll have a hard time finding it and people selling it. Then the second specimen I unwrapped is this yellow cubic fluorite on quartz with calcite and siderite growth specimen. Fluorite is a widely popular crystal. The better quality fluorites come in this cubic sort of shape. It comes in virtually all colors of the rainbow and sits on a 4 on the Mohs scale. Its name is derived from the Latin word fluere, meaning to flow. The term fluorescence comes from fluorite as well, which will often exhibit this effect. The element fluorine also gets its name from fluorite. It's a major source of the elements. Fluorite can be found in hydrothermal veins, especially those containing lead and zinc minerals. It is also found in some greisens, granites, pegmatites, and as a component of some marbles and other metamorphic rocks. This little piece here is the siderite, and it's typically found as a brownish yellow rhombohedron cluster or clusters. And what's really interesting about siderite is that some fungi can oxidize iron to produce siderite, which is then considered a biomineral. This particular specimen comes out of Morocco, and I'll put on screen the exact locality where this is from. Third piece I unwrapped is this white chalcedony geode specimen. What chalcedony is, it's a microcrystalline, which means it's a microscopic quartz that's sort of fused together. It's the translucent, sometimes transparent part of what you get with agate. If chalcedony is jam-packed with mineral inclusions, turning it opaque, this is what's called jasper. Chalcedony, agate, and jasper are all microcrystalline quartz. And being a quartz, it lands at the same hardness as the bigger and more noticeable quartz crystals, and that being a 7 on the Mohs scale. This specimen comes out of Mexico, and again, I'll put the exact locality on screen here. And the reason why I'm putting it on screen instead of just, telling you is simply because I don't want to mispronounce it. The names can be hard sometimes, and so that's probably what would happen if I try to, say them out loud. So, yeah. All right, on to the fourth piece, which is this hemimorphite and veseliite specimen. The lighter blue is the hemimorphite, which can vary in its blue color from pale to dark blue. It lands at a 5 on the Mohs scale, and its crystals form in orthorhombic shapes. Its name comes from the hemimorphic morphology of the crystals, and I want to quickly state to be cautious about purchasing vibrant electric blue hemimorphite coming out of Mapimi, I think it's pronounced, Mexico. It's a place in Mexico. And that's because it's been proven through testing that the minerals have been stained using an artificial compound or dye known as phthalocyanine blue BN. This particular specimen that I have here, though, comes out of the Congo. And again, the location I'll put on screen. The darker blue here is veseliite, which is definitely a rare crystal. Its color is this electric blue. However, it's actually natural, this blue. And it also can show up in a more deeper, darker blue of the same electric blue. Its hardness lands at a 4 on the Mohs scale and is named after August Vesely, which is a Hungarian mining engineer who discovered the species. Next up is this hemimorphite and mimetite specimen. Unlike the last specimen, this hemimorphite has much more distinct and defined crystals and has a much paler blue coloring to it, even having some staining of brown coating from the matrix that it grew on. Also, the mineral that's grown alongside it is memetite. Colors of memetite usually are pale yellow, like you see here, or other varying shades of yellow. Its crystal form is hexagonal and lands at a 4 on the Mohs scale. It's a secondary mineral found in the oxidized zones of lead deposits, usually sprinkled on a matrix, sometimes thinly, sometimes thickly. Its name comes from the Greek word mimetis, which, when translated to English, means imitator, referring to how, when first discovered, it was thought to be a variation of the mineral pyromorphite. This specimen also comes out of the Congo, but from a different region to the last specimen. The sixth specimen I unwrapped is actually the same mineral as the first, but just different coloring, and that being this smoky cerussite specimen. Obviously, there's no need to elaborate on the mineral, seeing as I've already talked about it at the beginning, and I will just say that I'm absolutely in love with this piece. The shine and color and definition of the crystals are amazing, and I'm so happy to have found a piece of this high of quality since, like I stated earlier, cerussite is common, but mostly in low quality. So much so that people don't usually even try to sell it on the market. But high quality is rare and much harder to get your hands on. And just want to point out too that for cautionary purposes, if you do end up finding some cerussite for sale for yourself, make sure to keep it at a stable temperature because it has been known to shatter in below freezing temperatures. Anyways, the location of this particular specimen comes out of Morocco. Then, for the seventh piece I unwrapped, which is this chunky calcite with prehnite growth specimen. Calcite is a common widespread mineral that comes in all shapes and colors. Of course, It also comes in clear, and this piece, as you can see here, is devoid of color and very clear. In fact, when you peer through it, it gives off the effect of seeing double. It's an optical effect, and sometimes people will refer to this type of calcite as optical calcite, since not all calcite will produce this optical effect. Like siderite, calcite is also a biomineral, since calcite biomineralization is induced by certain bacteria as well as certain fungi, depending on the variety of the bacteria and fungi. It's a soft mineral, landing at only a 3 on the Mohs scale. And the name comes from the Latin word calx, when translated into English means lime. Then there's this prehnite growth here. Prehnite comes in only pale green color, and this piece right here is so pale that I'm not even sure that the camera is even going to pick it up. But it is green. Prehnite lands at a 6 on the Mohs scale and was named in 1788 after Hendrik von Preen, who first discovered the mineral in Cape of Good Hope in South Africa and was a naturalist and mineral collector. It is a type of calcium alumosilicate occurring in low temperature hydrothermal environments. And this specimen in particular comes out of India. And we are at the second to last specimen now, and honestly one of the more interesting specimens I believe I own it to date. And that is this magnesite with azurite, dolomite, and malachite growth specimen. So this is a rare and unusual combination of minerals that you don't really find all together very often, I believe. So this whole base piece with this pinkish rose coloring is the magnesite. Other colors it can be found in are white, yellow, brown, and even can be colorless. It lands at a 4 on the Mohs scale and has a trigonal growth formation. The name comes from the location it was first discovered, which was in Magnesia, Greece. Then we have this 3 different sort of mineral growths occurring all together around the magnesites. And the blue is azurite. It only ever is found in this color of blue. In fact, its name is derived from the ancient Persian word for blue, which is lazward. Azurite does tend to be grown alongside with malachite or around where malachite is found. But obviously on rare occasions, as you can see, it can be found with other minerals. It lands also at a 4 on the Mohs scale. Speaking of malachite, it is this green material here, which, like the magnesite and azurite, lands at a 4 on the Mohs scale and comes in only this kind of color of green, except the fact that this green can also be a little bit darker, like the shades, maybe paler or darker, but not a different variation of green. It's usually mainly this color. So its name comes from the Greek word malachi, which when translated means mallows, in reference to the green color of the leaves. Then there's the white dolomite growth, which also lands on a 4 on the Mohs scale. It was named after a French mineralogist and geologist, who I won't be trying to pronounce, because his name is crazy long and I don't speak French, but of course I'll just put that on screen. He wrote numerous books on observations on geology and theoretical books about the internal structure of the earth. This crazy jam-packed specimen comes out of Morocco. Alright, we're at the 9th and last piece of this unboxing, and it's with this celestine growth on sulfur specimen. So celestine is the same thing as celestite, however officially the name is celestine. Usually what might pop into your head when I say that name is a blue-gray geode crystal, like this up on screen. Well, that is the same crystal as this, even if they look like 2 completely different minerals. The blue-gray is just more common and easier to find out in the market for sale. But either way, both are celestine, and the colors that it ranges is just this blue-gray or this smoky brownish yellow. It lands on a 3 on the Mohs scale, and the crystal formation is orthorhombic or orthorhombic. Yeah, hard to say. Anyways, its name comes from the Greek word celestis, which, when translated into English, means celestial. In regards to the faint blue color you usually find celestine in. Then we have the mineral sulfur, which comes in this yellow color and only this yellow color. It lands at only a 2 on the Mohs scale, so it is a very, very soft mineral. Typically, it's found as powdery yellow coatings, but also found in sedimentary rocks where large deposits are formed by reduction of sulfates. Sulfur is a common deposition product from volcanic gases associated with realgar and cinnabar. It is also found in some vein deposits and as an alteration product of sulfide minerals. This specimen here comes out of Poland. And before we get done here, I just want to state that if you're thinking about purchasing any sulfur mineral specimens, you're going to want to watch out for fakes because they are everywhere. And they look like this. These fakes that have these very uniformed, well-defined crystals are lab-grown. They all look very similar to each other and what you'd typically come across when searching for sulfur specimens, since they are being mass-produced in China. If you find anything carved being claimed as sulfur, it's most likely not. The only one exception is carved bumblebee stone, but that's because it's not just sulfur, but the stone is made up of other minerals, so it helps keep that structure and, make it stronger. But pure sulfur carvings don't exist because it is impossible to carve such a soft mineral without breaking it. So, yeah, just be aware out there for scammers selling anything sulfur. And that's everything. So, thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. If you're interested to see more, I will hopefully be doing those videos of what I have all in my collection sooner rather than later. So if you're interested, be on the lookout for that. And yeah, I'll catch you later. Bye!